Hello, Jack here for yet another vlog. This is my second unemployment vlog, just trying to go through the weekly life of someone who's unemployed. And this is gonna actually be my last unemployment vlog since I was actually able to find a job opportunity. So scratch my 3-month long goals, scratch all of what I was saying, because I was able to find something right away. So the one thing I would say is, first off, how did I get the job right away? So there has been a huge issue with software engine developers. A lot of people in this industry are unemployed, especially those at a younger junior level. However, there is quite a bit of jobs for people my level, which is like mid to senior. So I was actually able to get a senior software engineering position at a company. So unfortunately, like I said, it is hard out there. It's extremely hard out there for juniors. No one really wants to begin the training process because there's such a glut of engineers coming from Google, from Amazon, from all those different things. Another reason why I got hired right away is actually just because I worked in the education industry. I've worked with SIS, which is Student Information Systems, for quite a while now. So I do have a lot of domain-specific knowledge for education industry that not a lot of people, especially not a lot of younger people, have. So that does make me a little bit higher of a commodity for this industry, which did allow me to get a job rather quickly. So before I was talking about that, I thought it'd be fun to talk about like my failures in finding a job. Because I got quite a few. So first off, what I want to talk about is that first week. So I did my vlog. What I did was I started applying for all these different jobs. I applied for 40 jobs total. And I'm hoping to create like a little graph. Here's like a little graph of like what I got accepted, what was I rejected, and like 90% of them never even responded to anything I said. So all those 40 jobs, that was over the course of all the way back in September to now, which is the middle of October. October, I think 6th is when I'm filming this, right on Sunday. So that's over a month of applying for jobs. I was let go in October, but I kind of knew I was already getting let go, so I was able to apply for those jobs. A funny story there with one of my interviews that I want to talk about, speaking of failing on interviews, is I was in round 1 interview with this company. It was like kind of like a pre-recorded interview where they had a robot voice being like, "So tell me about your experience with C# and ASP.NET." It was one of those like robot voice interviews. So, and anyways, you get like a practice question. I thought you would get multiple practice questions. I didn't realize that. So I put in my thing, say my answer, hit next, thought I was in another practice question, and then my camera started being all wonky. I was like, oh, what the fuck? Why is my camera all wonky? And it was a look, and yeah, that was a real question. It was really being recorded and being sent over. So I just said in the fuck word right in the middle of it, of a pre-recorded interview. So yeah, I haven't heard back from that company. So yeah, I start my new job on October 21st, I believe. So I do have a few more weeks, hoping to hit the gym, continue on my goals with trying to clean up the office. It's kind of a mess. Organize stuff, look into things, educate myself, take courses. I want to be super prepared and ready for this new job and this new opportunity that awaits. So I was looking like all these YouTube videos, and I feel so bad for junior developers, but it is tough out there. I want to give some words of encouragement that it is super tough out there. If you are unemployed, don't expect to find a job as quickly as me. Like I said, I'm lucky enough to be in such a small industry that, domain-specific knowledge is very hard to come by. And especially since I've been doing this for several years, I'm not in that junior level. If I only had like maybe 1 year, less than 1 year experience, it would take me a long time to find an opportunity. So That's the one thing I would say is do not give up hope of finding a job. Do not be discouraged. There are opportunities out there. It just may take more time to find them. Now I want to say also some other things to encourage and give some advice to people who are trying to find jobs. The first one is, and this may be super hard to do if you are entry level, but reach out to your network. And I work in my industry. There's a lot of like conventions and stuff. Like I went to a convention. I went to actually conventions in like Tennessee, Florida. They had one in New Orleans. So there's just a ton of conventions that I'm able to go to and meet and talk with and network people. So that's my big thing is network, network, network. And if you are junior level, here's what I would recommend doing is opening up meetup.com. Locate like usually there's like an SDLC, software developers learning community. I believe that's what it stands for. There's one for our town. There's one for like a bunch of neighboring towns in like the in the Chicagoland area, and I guarantee you there's probably some for your neighborhood. I recommend if you are a younger junior level developer, join the SDLC. A lot of times it's just a bunch of like software developers coming together. How ours is designed is we have like one meetup every month, which is just like come in, talk, network, and we'll tell everyone what you're working on and have people review your code and stuff. Another thing that they would do is they do every week that's not that once a month meeting is actually teaching lessons. So within our SDLC, they have a lot of like Salesforce talks. So talks about like learning how to integrate within Salesforce. There's I'm near Chicagoland, is more like kind of like legacy Microsoft based technology. So there's a ton of people talking about Microsoft stuff. There's actually one that's like a full on like 2-hour meetup on like entity framework and using that to manage your databases. There's actually even like SSIS stuff, SQL Server Integration Services, which is like a legacy ETL. So that's one thing I would recommend developers like, hey, go to your local SDLC or software community meetup to not only network with people, but learn these legacy technologies. When I went to school, we talked about iPhone games. We talked about what else we talked about? We talked about like Android apps. We did a lot of like talking about like, the basics of computer science as well as working with mobile devices. We didn't talk a lot about like ETL. Like we didn't talk about all, we did basics of like database stuff. Well, we never did any like advanced SQL or any advanced like, SSIS. That's pretty much legacy. That's being replaced by like Azure Data Factory. You can even rehost your SSIS packages through Azure Data Factory. This is very specific to developers, by the way. So, that's one thing is that, there's still a ton of companies out there utilizing these legacy technology that I would recommend people look into, learn, and develop with. That way, when you do apply for a job, be like, I graduated college, and I know all this stuff, and I'm a part of the SDLC community, and I can help give back. You can start teaching lessons there, too, on the stuff you learned once you do get your job. And that will be, people will be like, hey, this man's a leader. He should be promoted and get a job and stuff like that. That's one of the big things I recommend. The second thing I would actually recommend, if you are an entry-level developer, and this is something that helped me a lot, is join Toastmasters. I am someone who, as you can tell from this video, has a hard time speaking. I was in speech therapy class when I was a kid for years. Tell me how well it went. I still talk and mumble a lot. But yeah, I was in speech therapy for years, and that I still have a hard time speaking and just rambling and talking things off the cuff, as evidenced by this YouTube channel. This is one thing that I want to do. This YouTube thing is to help me kind of learn and grow and develop and teach myself new things and explore things. And I hope to encourage people the same way because, obviously I grew up the same way. But one thing is Toastmasters is excellent. It's usually a group of smaller people. In our community, it's a lot of older folks, 55 and older. So you get a lot of they may not know a lot of technology domain or whatever specific industry you want to go to, but they have the life experience. A lot of them were managers or worked in HR, so they have the knowledge to pass on to you to help you grow and develop and learn those non-technical skills that is really kind of hard to come across within the IT industry. So that would be join Toastmasters. That helped me not only learn to speak and talk better, as you can tell I mumble a lot. Still, you should see my older videos and see how much worse I am at speaking in those. Joining Toastmasters helped me with that, and it also helped me get over my fear of public speaking. I am someone who has spoken in conferences in front of 300 plus people. Granted, it was a technical conference, so I'm a little bit better at speaking than that and doing an off-the-cuff vlog-style video. But Toastmasters did help me kind of learn how to speak properly, get rid of your ums and ahs, and learn how to speak with more authority. That's one thing that I would say was highly beneficial. The last thing I will say, number 3, and this is bias, but start a YouTube channel. Do things like ramble in front of the camera to get used to speaking, because a lot of interviews these days are over the internet, so you got to be used to talking in front of a camera, rambling on, talking back and forth. And I think that doing this YouTube channel helped me tremendously with this skill. That doesn't mean I did perfect. Obviously, I swore in an interview. Yeah, they're not calling me back, by the way. I did swear in front of that interview. But either way, utilizing this YouTube channel taught me how to speak in front of a camera and is really helping me develop my speaking just in general. So yeah, those are the 3 things I would say to those people who are junior developers, entry level within their job career. And this could be generalized to, 3 steps. 1, join your community, be someone who is willing to learn from the older folks within their community, and then give back to that community by teaching others and becoming just more one. The second thing is to join a speaking group. It doesn't have to be Toastmasters, but be in a place where you can learn from those who are older, who are managers, who were a part of HR. And for me, that was Toastmasters. For you guys, it could be a different community. It could be community theater even. And the last thing is start YouTube channel, start networking yourself, and bonus points if you talk about technical issues or technical things on your YouTube channel. That would be perfect. The last thing I would say for developers, junior developers out there who are having a hard time finding a job, is to start a project. When I was starting off way in the beginning, I did this thing called Academy of One, which was a little educational site. I took it down because it was just awful. At some point I would like to do that again, create maybe educational content for YouTube. But it was just horrible. But that taught me how to edit. It taught me how to utilize a camera. It taught me a lot of different things. And I'm still learning this stuff. I do want to grow and get better at this YouTube thing. And all those skills are things that I started off with this side project, Academy of One. And during that project, I learned Ruby on Rails in order to create my website. Which was just had my videos of me talking in front of a PowerPoint, and then had these little quizzes, which were fun. Another project I had was Sarai, which was basically a comic book, it was weird. It was basically what I would say would be YouTube, but for comics and books. So basically, you would click on it, it would have like an independent web cartoon, and you would read it. And then the key differential between this thing is that I would have something called Sarai coins. This was all before the whole cryptocurrency boom. So we had something called Sarai coins, which were something like, hey, you didn't skip the ad, you watched the ad fully. Here's a coin. You can then reward it to the uploader of the comic you're reading or to one of the comments. So that was kind of a way, there was like a little economy, and those coins could be redeemed for Amazon gift cards. And if you liked them, you can buy them. It was kind of like how Reddit coins worked, where if you had enough, then you would be able to go into like this special place with only people, and you could have the discussions with the comic book artists. It was a nice idea, but it just wasn't something that I had the skills to develop back then. Nowadays I could probably do it if I had the time, but, I didn't have the skills back then, but I learned so much by having these side projects. So that's one big thing I would recommend to those entry levels. So yeah, this is it for my rambling unemployment vlogs. Anticlimactic, I know. I was thinking like maybe it'll be a couple months. Luckily it wasn't. Luckily I was able to get a place right away. And I hope if you're watching, if you're feeling discouraged, there is a place for you as well. It may take a lot of work to get there, but eventually you'll get there. I know for me, like, I to talk about my journey for a little bit, I didn't go to school. I dropped out of college. I dropped out of multiple colleges, actually. I wanted to be a software developer, wasn't there. It took years. Eventually, I got a customer service job. I worked my way from customer service to IT support. From IT support, I went back to school for computer science, eventually getting my bachelor's degree. And by the time I had my bachelor's degree, I was a year into developing work. So I was extremely lucky, but also I worked hard to get to where I was. It wasn't the smartest path. Don't get me wrong. If I went to just college at 18, things would have been so much better in my life. But I didn't. That's just the path, and that's the path life led. So if you are anxious, don't worry. Plan out, have a strategy in your mind, but also realize that it's 15% having life take the wheel and luck, and then 80% you doing things, and then 5%, I don't know, someone else doing something. It's 5% someone like having a connection and having them work for you. But in order to get that connection, you have to have luck to be in the right place at the right time, and you also have to be 80% of that is having the skill, having the knowledge to make the other person be like, wow, this guy has potential. I'm going to give this guy an opportunity. So that's my wisdom. That's my rant. Let me know if you want these in the future. They are what they are. I'm not trying to edit this much. I'm going to edit in my graph of like my unemployment, my jobs. I forgot what kind of graph that is, but it's basically just saying like, this is what I applied to, 40-something jobs. This is what I got rejected. This is what happened, and one success. And I had like 3 interviews. One interview went horribly, as I said. The other interview, they never reached back out, so I assume I didn't get it. And the one, of course, I got that job. So, yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. If you like these things, these vlog-style videos, I can put a few out there, maybe once every month. Wisdom with Jack or something like that. I was thinking about doing maybe like a podcast-style thing, just as like an easy content, just because now I'm going to be working extra hard to make everything great at this new company and do the best I can. And that's really the last thing I would say, is that's all you can do, is do the best that you can. And if you do that, then you tried everything that you could. So guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on X and Instagram at TrueJackShank. Lastly, I want all you guys watching to have an amazing day. If you're wondering how you can improve, You can't do it alone. As evidence of what I've said today, you need to surround yourself with people who are wanting to improve themselves, wanting to learn, wanting to engage, and wanting to teach. So you can't really improve yourself alone. You can really only do it together.